Hey, what's good, y'all? It's your boy here, and we are back for some more Fire Emblem Heroes, and we're over here in DTM's house today. Now, DTM posted this really awesome video just about a day ago. So, top 10 meta impact units of 2024. Of course, the year is coming to a close, so now would be as good a time as any to make a video like this. He also did one of these last year as well. So I think this is becoming an annual thing for him. So definitely give the partner a sub over here and also check out the video because it's really good. But it got me thinking a little, like, where did things go wrong? Where did this power creep that we're in right now just skyrocket to the next level? Because it feels like ever since last year, ever since the Christmas banner in particular, that Three Houses Christmas banner that just broke the game, ever since that happened, it feels like the floodgates have been completely blown open and everything is happening now. It's like there's nothing off limits anymore. Just the offensive units are crazy defensive. Everything is an insane support unit and so on and so forth. Just the power creep is out of control right now. So what we're going to do today is we're going to try to break down where that happened. We're going to take a look at units that released from last year, and then units that released at the beginning of this year, and then also we're going to look at units that released pretty much right now, like who just came out. And what really got me invested in doing something like this was this unit right here. So Needhogger comes out. Her Mythic Hero battle is a menace for a lot of people. Seems like a lot of people just had a very hard time completing this map that she was on, and it's not hard to see why when you just take a look at the, like, encyclopedia of effects that this bitch has got. It's quite a lot, man. And I personally didn't struggle, but then again, I'm an anomaly because I use all of the newest stuff. Like, I used this unit when I was clearing the map, and of course I'm not going to struggle if I'm using the most recent releases, because they're going to be in line with the power creep level of Needhogger and so on and so forth. But that's not how it goes for a lot of people. Like, a lot of people that play Face still like to use their favorites, or they like to do free-to-play guides, like PM1, for example. He likes to clear all of the abyssal content with at least accessible units that everyone might be able to get. But it's getting increasingly harder to do that when units are just stacking effects on effects on effects. It gets to a tipping point where older units really just cannot compete anymore, and that's not what people want to hear, because of course they like to build their favorites, they like to invest heavily on whoever their favorite character is, and then they like to solo all the abyssal maps with said hero. In the case of Zishato and Laszlo, he's only going to run Laszlo when he clears these abyssal contents. Or, I guess, Fedison and Anna, he's only going to use Anna when he tries to do these abyssal maps. But, I mean, it's starting to become a very tall order trying to do that with older units at this point. So, why don't we start over here? We're going to start things off with Legendary Hinoko, one of the better offensive unit released in 2023. What really sold Hinoko was not only is she a great offensive unit, but then she had the crazy support that she does in her C skill, where she's giving charge to all your flying type allies, and then she's also doing this insane rain debuff, speed, defense, and res -5 on enemy non-flying types in 3 columns of 3 rows. So when you combine all of that with her offensive presence, she really excels, right? So she's got, like, effective against armor and flying. She's getting attack and speed up 6. She does 20% bonus damage based on speed, even when she does an AoE, which is a really strong effect, but Hinoko herself has no way to really pre-charge an AoE on her own. And then she also has half a null follow-up, and then she's got Fire Sweep. Fire Sweep can be a very powerful effect still, but it's starting to lose value a little bit with how often these units are getting Null C Disrupt now, and also how easy it is for units to get Null C Disrupt. So Hinoko was like the pinnacle of offensive prowess in 2023. Then earlier this year, we got Harmonic Eye Green, who is like the next level of Hinoko. So she's very similar in the sense that she's also giving mobility support. Hinoko gives charge, but Eye Green is giving +1 movement to infantry and armor types, and she's also letting them bypass terrain, so Tree tiles, trench tiles, whatever, doesn't matter. It's not going to slow you down. Also, more importantly, the flame tiles from Flared Sparrow. That could be a problem too, but not with iGreen. So that's one thing. Then she also has -2 cooldown at the start of turn 1. Remember how we mentioned with Hinoka? She's getting bonus damage 20% based on speed even when she procs an AoE, but she doesn't really have any cooldown reduction to get there. iGreen, on the other hand, does. So iGreen's going to be able to jump right into her AoE whenever she wants very quickly. Then we also are getting attack and speed up 6 for iGreen, and then she gets 15% bonus damage based on attack, which is also including on her AoE. Similar to Hinoka getting 20% based on speed. The difference, of course, though, like we said, is that iGreen actually gets to her AoE, while Hinoka needs a lot of outside help if she wants to run an AoE. And then also, we're not even done yet. When iGreen triggers her special, she's getting plus X% bonus, or X% bonus damage based on her speed, times 10 of her max cooldown count. She's going to be running AoE specials. So, she's got 4 hits for Blazing Wind, and then -1 because she's got -1 special trigger. So, that gives us 3 hit cooldown at max, times 10 for 40, or times 10 for 30, and then plus 10 for 40. So 40% bonus damage based on speed when triggering a special. Very, very powerful stuff, and that effect there is not something that Hinoka can match. She's not getting that, like, monstrous damage on special like Hinoka does, or like iGreen does. And then, we're not done yet either, because iGreen also has a powerful duo skill. This is one of the craziest in terms of DPS. So she gives Resonant Blades, which is attack and speed of 4, Treachery, which is essentially Blade Tome, and then Desperation as well. So, on the turn that iGreen pops her duo skill, really, Hinoka just can't even compete anymore. She just excels into a realm of, like, monstrous damage that Hinoka can't even tread into. So, that was earlier this year. What are units looking like right now? Let's take a look, because believe it or not, Duai Green has kind of fallen off. I mean, she can still be used for sure. She's not, like, completely dead, but she's nowhere near as meta impactful as she was at the start of the year, and also months leading into it. So, Ninja Lucina now. Here is an example of a recent offensive unit. So, first of all, -1 special trigger, effective against flying, and Brave, dual phase Brave, which right now Brave attacking is so important for these units to have, these offensive units, because it's the only way to beat Shield Fighter. Shield Fighter will proc the non-pierceable DR special on every single hit that you do, except for the final hit. So, in order to break through a unit that's got Shield Fighter, you gotta hit him 4 times. So that means you gotta have a Brave attack, and you gotta be fast as hell. Now, these two can get Brave attacking with a lot of support if you've got, like, Catria, or if you've got Cordelia, or whoever is giving Brave attack support. There's a new Catria, or who is it? I think it's Thea. There's a new Thea that also can give Triangle attack, but having it innately is just better because you don't really want to run units like Catria or Cordelia anymore. So innate Brave is just the way of the future. Also, Lucina's getting all stats up 15% of her base speed plus 5, which, I mean, for all these units, we can just assume they're going to be neutral out of the box. Like, average Fae player Joe Schmo, not Whale plus 10 Lords that have everything maxed out. So, let's say, like, 48 speed. Alright, hold on. Let's get the calculator for this. So, 48 speed base, and then we want 15% of that. Alright, hold on. Alright, so that's roughly 7 points, and then plus 5. That's about plus 12 to all stats for Lucina. Then she also deals plus X damage times 5, where X is the number of bonuses on her and penalties on the foe, which is so easy to get the full amount on. All you need is 5 bonuses and penalties between you and the foe, which, I mean, Lucina's already giving, like, 30 bonuses and penalties, so you're already automatically going to get to plus 25. Just think about that. 25 points of true damage on every attack that she does, and she's got a Brave weapon. Now, of course, she has a half-might weapon compared to iGreen and Hinoka, but she more than makes up for it when we get to the 25 points of true damage. Like, these other two, they don't have anything even near that. And we're not done yet. She also cuts DR in half, which neither of these two are able to do. That's not that big of a deal anymore, though. Like, cutting DR right now, when all the units rely on non-pierceable DR, it's not really that big of a deal. But it is still something. She's able to pierce DR without using a special. Like, these two would need to have Deadeye in order to pierce a special, or pierce DR, which you don't really want to run Deadeye anymore on these guys. You want to run Curved Shot or, like, something else. Alright, then she also nullifies Guard, and then she also... If she attacks the enemy on her second hit, she's getting a Rally Spectrum effect, which is very cheeky because that gets around scowl effects. So you can see how much more modernized a unit like Lucina is by comparison to her contemporaries. And then she's also got her assist here, Future Focus, which gives her action economy, where she's able to pop her assist and then move again. Then she's also giving insane support here with Future Witness and Null Follow-Up and Cooldown Pulsing. The Cooldown Pulsing is the same as Valentine Crom, where he gives himself and the ally that he assists with -1 cooldown. So you can use this for setups, you can use it to buff your units. Null Follow-Up has been increasingly less common on these units' base kits now, where they want you to outsource Null Follow-Up, which isn't really hard to do, but you still have to be wary that you have to end up outsourcing Null Follow-Up to get it on the recent stuff. Lucina's just able to give it to them, which is awesome. And then Future Witness is cracked beyond belief. You get Canto 2, you get all stats of 5, 7 flat DR on the enemy's first and brave attack, and then you also get Scowl too. It's like, it's offensive and defensive at the same time. And of course, Lucina comes with Curved Shot out of the box. You can give Curved Shot to these two also, but the point I'm trying to make here is that not only is Lucina offensively far superior to Hinoka and Igreen, she's also defensively superior to them as well. With her ability to nullify Guard and have a brave attack, you can run stuff like Miracle on her to allow her to live hits, which is very important in the Fiorm matchup. Also, you could just use her with Curved Shot to get a lot of non-pierceable DR and survive the enemies. And with her second attack, Rally Spectrum, she can rely more easily on Curved Shot than these two would be able to. So offensive units nowadays are just in disguise defensive units, support units, action economy units, and we're not even done because this unit also gets a second action and re-enables her Canto with Duo Skill. It's like, the difference is like night and day, man. The power creep has gotten to that point now where units are just all-rounders that do everything. They're not shoehorned into one role. Like, Hinoka was pretty much just an offensive unit with movement support with charge. She wasn't a defensive unit. She wasn't a supporter. She was, like, there's just so much role compression now that it's insane. Alright, now let's take a look at the defensive spectrum. Let's take a look at some bait units here. So, we've got the Winter Byleth, who, I mean, it might be cheating to use this unit, actually. Because, like I said at the start, the Winter banner was really what started this insane amount of power creep. Because when these units came out, this Winter 3 Houses banner, all of the units on there were just like 10 times better than the rest of the game. And now that's not the case anymore, right? But we didn't see power creep on this level until that Christmas banner. So let's take a look at what this guy does. Alright, so he's got -1 special trigger, he's got distant counter, he's getting attack, defense, and res up 5, and then a further attack, defense, and res up 20% of his res at the start of combat, which his base res is 46, so I think I did the math already, and that's like roughly 9 points. So he's essentially at plus 14 to everything. Let me just double check my math there. We don't want to be giving wrong information here. Yeah, it's roughly about 9 points, so 9 plus 5 is like 14. Okay, then he also nullifies Guard. Then he also has triple Scowl. If he procs Savior, then it's automatically -3 Scowl to the enemy. Or it's based on how many spaces the enemy moved if he's not going to trigger save, which, I mean, right now everything is moving 50 spaces. So he's going to be able to get his big Scowl to go off. Then he also has Null Sea Disrupt if the enemies have a ranged weapon, which is pretty important. Like I said, Null Sea Disrupt is becoming very prevalent because a lot of stuff have Fire Sweep or Inflict Flash right now. So it's going to be very important for these bait units moving forward to have Null Sea Disrupt, especially after Lay Radar came out and he inflicts Flash. So we got all this stuff here from Byleth. Then he's also got his special here, which gives him kind of like a Ruptured Sky boost to attack. If he's up against a beast or a dragon, it's 50% of X of his attack, which is quite a lot, right? Like, I mean, that's half of his attack, which is going to be 23 at baseline. And then if he's up against anybody else, then otherwise it's going to be 25. So I think that's around 11 points of attack there. So not quite as potent when he's fighting non-beasts or dragons. And he's probably not going to be, honestly, because this guy is a far save unit. So when you're using far save, you're probably just fighting mages and like bow units and stuff like that. Not so much dragons and beasts. Alright, then also he nullifies DR when he procs his special. I said this already with Ninja Lucina, but that's kind of a moot point now because units are relying on non-pierceable DR at this point as opposed to pierceable DR. And then also, if the enemy's range is 2, then he gets 30% DR, which is essentially like Armored Flow. Not quite as strong as Armored Flow, but it's... I mean, it's close enough. It's non-pierceable DR on special, which is nice. He's also got a duo skill as well, which is kind of for support, but it's not that crazy. He gives Defense and Res up 6 as a blue buff. He gives 80% DR against AoEs, and then he gives Hexblade, and he also neutralizes effective against armor on himself. So the Hexblade, the Goto support, and the Defense and Res up 6 are for all your allies. The Nullify effective against armor is only for him. Not too many units right now have effective against armor, so that's not that big of a deal. But just a little bit of extra sauce, I guess, you could give to this Byleth on the turn that he procs his duo skill. Alright, then earlier this year we got Emblem Ike. So let's take a look at this guy. Now, he was one of the most insane releases, and he still is pretty insane. He hasn't completely fallen off yet, but he's not as good as he was. So he's got -1 special trigger. He's got distant counter. He's getting plus X attack and attack minus X to the foe based on 25% of the foe's attack -2 at the start of combat. So the max here is 16, so he's essentially getting attack up 16 and attack -16 to the foe. I believe they need to have 66 points of attack for this to be the full amount, which is pretty easy nowadays. I mean, it's not difficult at all to get your units to 66 attack and up. Then he also nullifies penalties on himself, which is a pretty cute effect, honestly, but that's not that big a deal, because they've been going a little bit more into the penalty neutralization bag, where we've gotten Ninja Saline and Attune Micaiah and King Freyr, of course, that just neutralize penalties. So, I mean, it's nice that he has it, but it's not like that crazy. Then he also has Null Sea Disrupt, very important, and then he also nullifies Guard. Kind of a bare bones weapon here. Maybe Byleth is even better than him in terms of the weapon, but then we get to his special. This is where Ike really jumps through the roof. So, Great Ether. He's getting bonus damage here, first of all, based on how many times the enemies hit him. And he's forcing Vantage and Desperation onto the enemy. So they could possibly hit him up to 4 times with this if they're a Brave Attack unit. But for argument's sake, let's just say they're hitting him twice, because that's what most people will do. So 2 times 10 for 20 plus 40 is 60. Bonus damage based on 60% of his attack, which baseline is 47. I already did the math on that too, and that comes out to be about 28 points. So 28 points of bonus damage, pretty high number there. Then he also gets 40% DR on the enemy's first attack and 70% DR on the second attack onwards. So this is where Ike really overthrows Byleth, because if we take a look at Byleth, he's only getting 30% non-pierceable DR on his special. Ike gets 40% and then 70%. So you can really see where the meta shifted from kind of being balanced to just being obscene out of nowhere. Over double the amount of non-pierceable DR is what Ike's getting on his special. So yeah, they've really dipped into the non-pierceable DR bag for this year. It's starting to get ridiculous with how much DR and true damage these units are getting now. And now finally, let's take a look at this bitch. So Nidhogger. What is Nidhogger doing that makes her so scary? Okay, so first of all, I mean, I don't even know if I can fit her entire weapon on the screen. That's how long it is. Jesus Christ. So she's got -1 special trigger. She has this random debuff effect too, which, I mean, neither Byleth or Ike can be classified as debuffers. They don't have anything like that. So Needhogger just gets it for who knows why. Attack and defense -7 and sabotage on foes in 3 columns and 3 rows, which is a good effect here because it also procs when she ends her turn and also at the start of turn. So after she ends her turn, this would bypass King Freyr or Micaiah, who would not be able to penalty cleanse this. So first of all, that's already pretty good. Then she also transforms, and if she's transformed, she does 25% melt damage to the foe's max HP at the start of combat. Melt damage has been getting a lot of answers lately, like Breath of Life 4 and also Halloween Asker and Divine Nectar and things like that. But it's a little better on a bait unit because at the very least, Asker and Breath of Life 4 require you to be within a couple of spaces of an ally, like 2 or 3 spaces. When you're initiating on a bait unit, you may not be in 2 spaces, so it's more likely that she can bypass Breath of Life 4 and Asker. But Divine Nectar will still be able to mitigate this damage a little bit. So she's got the melt damage there. Then she also has attack and defense up 6 plus 20% of her defense, which is quite a lot if we take a look. She's got 48 defense there, so we can quickly calculate that one. All right, so roughly 9.6. Let's say 10 because she's going to get a little bit more stats once you start giving her skills and all of that stuff. So let's say 10 plus 6 is 16 points of attack and defense. Then she also cuts DR in half, and then she also does bonus damage based on 30% of the foe's max HP, which, I mean, that's going to be a lot. Assuming the enemies have, I don't know, how much HP do we want to say the enemies might have right now? Let's say like 50. All right, so times that by 15%. That gives us about 7 points of damage right there. No, it's not 15. It's 30, right? My bad. I'm underselling her. So it's 15 points, actually, of true damage that she gets per hit. Whereas Ike and Byleth, they're only getting bonus damage on special. She just gets it every attack she does. Then she also has flat DR by X on their regular attacks and also their special, similar to Excel, which new passive that we've been seeing gives a lot of DR. Basically, it gives her DR based on the amount of damage existing on the foe at the moment, which the max is 20 and the min is 10. And she's already doing a lot of melt damage to the enemies. So you can see where this unit really starts to just get into ridiculous territory. She's got melt damage, she's got DR piercing, she's got support, and we didn't even read this yet either, Dosing Fang, which is even more support that she does. Wait, hold on. Yeah, Dosing Fang. Wait, where is her ace skill? Oh, here it is. Okay, so they have 2 weapons on the wiki. They have her summonable weapon, Enticing Dose, and then they have her weapon on the enemy map, which is Dosing Fang. So they actually buffed her before release, which is kind of funny. Okay, so Divine Toxin here, let's take a look. Gives her the ability to transform automatically, and then she gets dosage to herself and allies. Dosage is just even more support, all stats of 5, and then also nullifies Essence Drain. One of the primary effects that we were using to deal with these Omni-Tanks and bait units that are just stacking a million effects. Now we can't even do that anymore. Really dirty that she's able to do that. Okay, then she also just gets all stats of 10, and then she's also getting lull attack and defense, which is way stronger than Ike having neutralized penalties. Having lull right now is very good because there's a lot of units that just give blue bonuses at the start of turn, like, let's see here, Brave Robin, for example, King Freyr, Marnie, and so on and so forth. All these units are just giving allies in 2 spaces 2 stats up 6, and then they also give like a bunch of other support effects. Or you're running a C skill like Incited or whatever it might be that already just gives you attack and speed up 6 or defense and res up 6 or whatever. So having lull effects is really good right now. Then she also gets special acceleration and she nullifies guard. So from top to bottom, I mean, this unit is just doing so many things. She's got a debuff with the Sabotage. She's got a support with Dosage. She's got a ton of melt damage. She's doing a ton of damage herself. She's got a lot of non-pierceable DR. Like, the effect stacking right now is just out of control, man. Ike is just a tank. Like, he's not supporting. He's not debuffing. He's not doing any nonsense like that. Nidogger is just Ike, but better, and then also with a boatload of support for who knows why. So there you guys go. This, like, roll compression era that we're in, where units are just doing every single thing possible, really started with Attune Micaiah. She was the first unit, I think, that came out that it was like, okay, you think she does enough? Like, does she really need to be doing this many things? And now every unit since, it feels like they've had to match that, which is why earlier units at the start of the year, like Ike and Igreen, are not really just roll compressed to the level of the units right now. So that's going to wrap us up for this video. Hope y'all enjoyed this little breakdown of, I guess, the level of power creep that we're looking at right now. If you guys enjoyed it, also make sure to subscribe to DTM and check out this video. Like I said, it's a very good video. I'm sure you guys are going to like it. So that's all for now. This is your boy Tacho signing out, and I will catch y'all again on the flip side.